Hello, everyone. We've got a good one tonight. Some good shit talking about the USPSA stuff. In my view, they have maybe unwittingly they have crossed the Rubicon, and things are starting to happen. Things are accelerating. In my view, it's time to go full force. On here to talk about it tonight, people that have been on the channel before. We have Mr. Austin. Say hello.
Hi, guys.
And Mr. Bill. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello, just hey, your bona fides, like you guys have been watching the USPSA stuff for years, and people on the board hate both of you, right?
I haven't confirmed with people on the board that they hate me, but I would guess from the
I'll
fact that
confirm
nobody
for you
responds
now,
to my
they hate you.
emails.
Yeah, they hate you.
Yeah.
Austin.
Yeah, I would assume the same. They don't tell me because they don't answer my emails either, but they do have a goofy dossier on me as well as others, I'm sure. So
They have a 700-page dossier on me, Layden's been telling people.
Well, that's a healthy level of obsession.
Yes. So I've been getting so many questions. Like, it's actually surprising, even me. Like, people I don't hear from who like are in industry people. I don't hear from them though a lot, but they're asking me like, hey, what's going on? Because there's been shenanigans for years, and we've been talking about it. It's been kind of growing, but it's like it's hit this point now. It's like something is shifted. A lot of people are asking questions now.
Yeah.
That's been what I've seen. And like I said, in my view, they crossed the Rubicon. This fairly transparent move, like, hey, Frank's gone. We're bringing back Sherwin. We're bringing back Bruce one. Like they crossed the Rubicon. Do you think they knew that they were doing that, Austin? Do you think they knew?
I think that, for however many years, they've been getting by with a largely apathetic membership. So a group of 38,000 shooters who didn't even know who Bruce one is. And they were able to get by with that sort of thing. You could go to a local match and you could say, hey, what do you think of this or that? Dudes are like, yeah, I don't know, man. I just want to shoot it. And fine, fair enough. That's where we should be. But you're getting a lot more people switched onto it now. And people are starting to pay attention. And there's a whole lot more chatter about what the hell is going on with USPSA. And yes, most of that chatter is not favorable if you're in the board's camp.
Truthfully, I have not seen anything favorable, and in like a kind of a moment of it's. I'm not going to lie, guys. It makes me smile. It makes me smile when there's people that have hated that I've been talking about this stuff for years. They hate me personally. They attach all of this stuff to me. They blame me for what guys like you say, that kind of stuff. They are now getting on board with this.
We're just here for podcast clout. That's why we're here.
Like, oh my God. It is amazing. I think the energy has shifted, and they are from this, like the clock is ticking on them. At some point, like either they could break and all resign at any moment, which I don't really anticipate that, or it could be some process of months or a few short years and they're all going to be gone. But like, I think the clock is ticking on the regime now, and they know it. That's my view. What do you say about that, Bill?
The clock is definitely ticking. I mean, there are going to be 3 special elections this year, most likely, for Area 1, 2, or 1, 3, and 4, and Area 2 and Area 5 are up for regular elections. So whoever gets elected for those will take office next January.
Right.
And I mean, just the people being elected, that's a majority of the board. Like 5 seats are up for election. So if you could win those 5 seats, whoever wins those 5 seats controls the board for the next couple of years, at least.
Yes, I mean, or there could be shenanigans to, gate out candidates, as we've seen, that kind of, like, they could pull shenanigans, but it's like, this is what I mean, like, they're going to lose, and they know it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think.
Whoever gets the 3 special elections is going to have a majority on the board.
Yes.
Immediately. All
right. So anyway, I think the silver bullet here was the live video feed was 8 hours in total of meeting over the week. Was it, guys?
Yeah, it's great.
Like these silver ball, like nobody's going to watch this 8-hour footage. Except for you guys. You guys did the work. You guys did the work. And now we're here to talk about it. And this is why this stuff is getting so much juice, because in my view, like they're getting emails, the protests, sponsors are dropping them left and right. The club protest movement is huge. Like they're getting cornholed right now. So much so that Mel Rodero punched out in the meeting. Even Phil Strader came out as former USPSA president. He's a very diplomatic guy. He gets along with everybody. I was shocked he came out and said like, hey, these guys are not putting, they're not putting the organization first and all of that. Like, something is really shifted. And like I said, I think the video makes it completely undeniable what's going on here.
Yeah, for a long time we were kind of stuck saying, hey, this is going on or this is happening, but we didn't really have receipts to prove a lot of it.
Right. And you couldn't go back to the minutes because the minutes were bare bones.
No. Right. And if you're a little bit smart and you read the minutes aren't really bare bones. These are like, okay, these are designed to obfuscate what is happening. They are concealing shit. The way the minutes are constructed and the communication from the organization is not designed to inform me. It's designed to keep me in the dark. I mean, occasional like misinformation or disinformation, like occasionally they'll just lie, but not much. Like they don't say nothing. Is that fair?
They'll have the start time and the end time on the for the meeting, and it's like it's a 4-hour meeting. Why are there only 4 2-line summaries of what was talked about? More stuff had to go on in this meeting than just this.
Right. So we can look at this and be like, bros, they're hiding stuff. Like, what do you think's going on here? And other people are like, no, they're just kind of dumb, or they just don't know, or you guys are jerks. And it's just like, no, they're hiding stuff. And Austin, you're just like, what do you say, man?
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to say? Well, now you can point them to a YouTube link and be like, no, watch. Believe it or not, in these 3-hour gaps when we're talking about money, which we're not even doing anymore, apparently, but there is discussion that goes on. When Ted comes out and says, hey, we had a vote to punt Eamon and to keep Mel, but there's no record of the vote. It's like, you can't hide from stuff anymore. The video is great. So glad they did that. Yeah. Leighton did a good job.
I doubt that they will ever do it again. I mean, depending on who wins these seats, we'll see. But
all right. Now, in my view, so the video is great. That's very helpful. So people are geeked up about that. Also, the moment right now for the organization is critical, right? So there's a few things in place. So first, on the board, there's a chance Scott can get back. There's a chance we're hearing Sherwin is saying he's not going to take the job for Area 3, which blows that back open. That may be true, maybe not. I suspect it is true. Maybe Bruce will change his mind on the back of that. You know what I mean? The events here are happening fast, and there's a lot in play, right? So that's very important. And then the other part of this is it's now January, and preparations are being made for the next season. You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of people, like the word I'm getting from my ears at SHOT Show is that the sponsors and stuff, they're not like, some of them are like USPSA, sure. Some of them that are really closely tied to USPSA aren't saying nothing because their business basically is USPSA. And then, but most of the middle ground people are just sitting back. They're just like, whoa, like, let's just sit back for a minute and see what happens here. And you're seeing the same attitude from a lot of clubs. And I got fair enough, right? Let's sit back and wait. All right. Like what I heard from Pro Shop Tim, and he said, like, this is the kind of prevailing opinion from the guys like him. It's like, I'm not going to sponsor USPSA stuff this year, really. Like, I don't know, like, I just don't know. I might send some stuff to a match and there may be less than 100 people there. We just don't know what's going to happen. Like, if one of my homies wants to go to a match, like, I'll send some stuff to get him in. But it's like, this year, we're just going to kind of sit back. Like, what do you guys think? Like, Austin, wait, is that what?
No, that's a pretty shrewd approach. I mean, you can think of a couple that have just gone full FU, but then you can think of a few more. Like you brought up Phil earlier. Phil made that's a pretty strong statement he came out with to say that,
yes.
Yeah. And Phil, he's got a SIG logo next to his name. And I don't know how much of, USPSA sponsorship budget is SIG, but probably a substantial amount. They're hosting the Area 7 match. And
They've sponsored
that's-
nationals for the last how many years?
Yeah.
In terms of personality and demeanor, he's very diplomatic in these kind of corporate settings. And it's like saying something like he's not going to do that just like off the seat of his pants and send it. He does not do that. So it means a lot coming from Phil just because it's Phil.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Frank may be able to pick the new Area 4 director right now. Like there's so much, like there's just so much happening at the board level. And then at the moment in the season, like if this thing, like let's say this board could get fixed or on the way to being fixed in a clear, concise way in the next couple months, that would potentially save the 2024 season in a lot of senses, right? Whereas this thing drags out a year, 2 years, that's very, very bad because the organization's like kind of like it's splintering, right? Different directions. There's people that have just had it. And if you're
Right.
interested in
And
actually
you're
helping,
seeing that with the rules for the different hit factor matches that people are coming up with. They're all different in various ways. And it's like the coherent rule set is a big it's the big thing for USPSA, and that's one of the reasons why USPSA, like, we need to, it's worth keeping.
so what I'm saying, like before we get into like what all happened and everything, like people should understand the moment is critical. The sooner this thing gets solved, the better. If you're ever going to send an email or make a post or whatever, now is the moment. It really is. If ever, now. Also, you probably, while you're sending those emails, you should reach out to like Frank and Ben. For real. Like they're doing a great job on the board. Like seriously, it means a lot to them because a lot of times, like when Frank was on there by himself, he's like, bro, like I'm in an island here. It's like 7-1. And then Frank's gone. And then it's just Ben. And he's like, Jesus, like, I'm sure he felt like quite isolated. Like these guys need support. They're doing a great job. They really should hear from people. And who should really hear from people, especially, is Scott. Like if you know Scott, like Scott went into here like with a good heart, a good Midwestern heart, as Austin knows. We've talked about this, right? Like Scott is such
Scott's
a
a
good
good guy.
guy. He's too good of a guy is his problem. And these guys were so nasty to Scott. They're so nasty. They kicked him off the board and they really like they were fucking demoralized him. Like if you're going to send a nasty email to the board, send a nice one to Frank and Ben, but definitely send a nice one to Scott. Like if he gets one nice email for every shitty thing that Leighton said to him, he'd need like 5,000 emails. So seriously, Scott should get 5,000 emails of like just
And
like,
honestly,
hey, we appreciate you, we love you, like you're kicking ass, Scott. Sorry.
and whether or not he's eligible to come back onto the board is one thing that's going to get reviewed, but whether or not he wants to is something different, right? Scott loves USPSA. He loves contributing to the sport. Let's remind him of that so that, you know, maybe we can give him some encouragement to come back because he was a credit to Area 3. And I know that Luke Faust has volunteered to step up. He's the guy that the section coordinators nominated. Only to have Mel and Leighton and Russell be like, yeah, no, we're gonna put Sherwin in there.
Yeah.
And Luke's a good dude too. But yeah, definitely give those dudes your support because it's lonely and it is very hostile.
Right. So let's talk about let's get to the video footage and the meetings and all the happenings and why this has been such explosive drama over the course of this thing. Let's talk about what was revealed truly during this. And I think we'll go person by person. Person by person. So we watched Leighton's demeanor during the meeting. And it was just like this roller coaster where it's like, boom, like Frank's gone. And then the next time, like, oh, Frank's back. And the demeanor shift was amazing. Like Leighton's just looking defeated. And then Mel taps out. It's just like he's just this defeated. His demeanor. It was amazing to watch, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the first meeting, he was full of energy. Monday, he was full of energy, talking over people. And I saw that email that Scott sent that said this was him like toned down, essentially on good behavior for the live stream, which is crazy to me. And then Wednesday's meeting, which was run much more effectively, much more smoothly than Monday's meeting. He looked like somebody killed his dog, which is not a hot dog joke. It's just I mean, he looked like somebody pissed in his Cheerios.
Area 4, Melwood, like watching him in the meeting, he's just sitting there. His demeanor was just defeated, right? Like, in my view, he signed up to be a big shot and strut around at matches and be an area director. He'll vote the way they tell him to vote as long as nobody like is mad at him. He doesn't really care, you know? And then he's just like catching all this heat. He's getting banned from clubs and stuff. Like, you know, gets kicked out of the Area 4 Facebook group. And he's just like, all right, guys, I'm sorry. He's like, sorry, like, I'm a head out. And he just like, boom, just turns it off. It was amazing.
I don't know that was planned.
Yeah,
No.
I didn't see that
after
coming.
Frank came back.
I mean, that was. Whew. I wondered why he abstained from the vote on Layton's appeal of the point of order that failed, that brought Frank back onto the board. And
he doesn't want to betray his buddy Layton, but he also doesn't want to do anything that's going to irritate people more. That was my read on it.
Clearly, by that point, I think he had decided that if the vote went the way it went, he was going to resign, I think. And I mean, that was like two big shifts on the board immediately.
Yes.
It was like a 2-person swing.
It was amazing. All right.
Yeah.
Area 5, and I'm just going to be real. I know there's a lot we're going to talk about with Donna and other things that were very, very funny. Area 5, Rick Steele was the superstar of the meeting, in my view, by a country mile. He sits there for the 5 hours that I watched. He's sitting there doom scrolling on his iPad the whole time. He literally does not know what the fuck is going on. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this, guys. You tell me if I am. He's called on to vote and he doesn't know what's happening. He's like, wait, so what? Yes does what? What does no do exactly? Am I making this up?
You're not. Although he wasn't the only one confused about some of those. I think they were worded a little weird, and so you had to vote the wrong way to get the.
Yeah, but other people weren't like playing solitaire on an iPad. But what was like amazing to me about the content? It was amazing. It was like, bro, you voted 2 days ago to kick Frank off the board. There's now this dramatic this conversation. There's going to be this reversal, maybe, like, what's going on? He's on his iPad. He has no clue what's happening. It's like, you voted to kick this guy out like 2 days ago, and you're not even like, you're not tracking what's happening. And then he's like, like, yeah, it was like, what is going on? Like, this guy is anybody, imagine being a Rick Steele supporter at this point. Imagine it. Like, this dude has no clue what's going on the whole meeting. This is fantastic. Sorry, Austin, you're shaking. You got something?
No, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, at least Layton was texting people about the meeting.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys saw what Kevin put up.
Yeah, I did. I saw like Layton's texting. I mean, I was making memes to it. The proceedings were pretty slow, in fairness. I could have been firing off meme cannons in the meeting and paying attention for myself, in fairness. All right. Area like Ben Berry, Area 6 director. He's a software programmer, I think, and they thought they could out-rules nerd him.
Yeah. Software programming doesn't work without a strict adherence to the rules. So that's not going to fly.
I think, okay, Area 7, Frank, like, he's a gangster. Like, he is such a G. At like, people who watch this stuff at the meetings, like, when they maliciously just try to run him off the board or whatever, and before he signs it, goes, good luck, and boom, it just signs off.
They're voting to throw him off the board,
God.
and he's still giving them help with Robert's rules.
Yeah, yes.
Like, while they're voting to throw him off, it was mind blowing. It's like, that's how much of a nice guy Frank is. It's like the meeting's supposed to be run under Robert's rules, and they have a Robert's rules question. Here's the answer.
Hey, Frank, could you help us kick you off? Yeah, and he did.
Frank is such a gangster. It was hilarious. And then he gets back on and he keeps it low key, but he's just got this like kind of crook in his smile, you know. It's like, oh my God. Like Russell Fortney, I think people like have gone from being fans to like seeing right through that guy in like a hurry. And he let the like when Frank's getting back, he just turned into a dick. And it's like, oh, like grin fucking's not working. We're seeing real Russell Fortney's coming out now. And it's not a good look, my man.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, not much else to say. All right. We got to talk about Donna. We got to talk about Donna. Donna,
Hope she's okay.
Yeah.
Donna appeared to be the managing director running the, what is she paid? 120K a year or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, plus
I think
bonuses and all the things.
plus yeah, bonuses and
They should give her an entertainment
incidental
bonus for
stuff.
this because she was amazing. She appeared to be having, let's just say, a lot of problems during the meeting. People thought she was drunk. I was in that crew. The memes started flying. The memes started flying, you know? And then on social media channels, a bunch of these people monitor. And then she just gets out of the meeting. I know she did not tell Yeaman where she was going because I've seen him confirm that via text message. She just leaves. So just for context, she is the secretary for the meeting, the corporate secretary.
She's supposed to take minutes.
Yes. 2 hours into a 5-hour meeting, maybe 45 minutes-ish after memes accusing her of being drunk during the meeting are flying. And if you watch her, she's like this. Honestly, she goes,
I'm gonna head out.
ooh, yeah. She's like, boom. She punches out too. And it was like, this is a Scooby-Doo mystery. Boy, I wonder what happened here. It was like, well, it would kind of reminded me of Top Gun, like when Maverick ejected. She's like, boom, I'm out. But it wasn't Maverick. It wasn't that. It was more like when Goose ejected.
Ooh.
Because
Ooh. Too soon.
The outcome was the same either way. It's like, I understand you know the plane's crashing and you hit the eject button. But this does not affect the outcome in any way, shape, or form. It's just as bad as if you'd stayed. You know?
Nope.
It was amazing. Oh God, that was fun. Like, she is positively a waste of space. She did on social media later clarify she wasn't drunk or high or whatever. And it's like, if it's not that lady, you've got a brain tumor or something. Like, something is wrong.
You had
Yeah,
like
you
a
had a
mini stroke during the meeting. I don't know.
Something is wrong. I think everybody would agree.
But I mean, the big things we saw from Donna, besides her demeanor, was she admitted that she wasn't doing her job. She was supposed to transfer all of the organization stuff to the new organization name, and she said, "Oh, I thought we would be able to get the old name back, so I didn't actually do any of that." It's like, well, does that mean the organization had insurance? What exactly is the status here? I mean, that it's her job to do that, and or to see that it's done. She may not have to do it herself, I imagine, but it wasn't done, and so that's a point in favor of going back to the old name. Is now we don't actually have to change that stuff.
Fair enough. They can go back to the old name. Also, what was your read on the Donna situation? Probably the
Yeah,
same.
I don't think anyone knew that she did that, and I don't think she counted on that question being asked of her. She was so excited that we kept the name, that she just lost sight of the fact that she slipped in there, that she 100% didn't do her job for what, months? I forget when that was.
Months. It was like August, I think.
Yeah, so what was, I like you, I don't even know what the implications of that could be as far as insurance, as far as like the pending lawsuit or any one of a number of.
It was around the time of Carry Optics Nationals, because that's when people got served.
What are the implications as far as your perception of Donna based on the footage you saw? The totality of it.
No, Handgun Nationals is where they got served.
Yeah, she's a disaster. But I mean, she came in, and I was one of the people that said, "Hey, do you guys mind like sharing roughly, what does she bring to the table? I'm not asking for her resume and her home phone number, but like, why did we go with her?" and it was crickets on that. And of course, we come to find out she's got an MLM background or whatever's up with that. But like, what does she do? I don't understand. We're not getting timely financial reports. She's stonewalling area directors, asking for historicals. Like, I don't know what her job is other than a historical preservation committee.
We have an apparel site.
Yeah, like you just, in my view, this is conspiracy theorist tinfoil hat, Ben. Here he comes. Her job is to stonewall the area directors asking for giant financials. That's literally why they created that position and stuck her in it. That's it. Like, well, she's there for that.
Well, you've never been right about any of your conspiracy theories before. So.
No, I'm batting a 0.00, baby, so far. Yeah. So let's so anyway, Donna's a disaster, obviously. I want to talk about the meeting got substantially more boring after Donna left and the drama part was done. They spent, again, 3 hours of a 5-hour meeting on boring shit. Like, Troy just read rules, like read them aloud. Was that go on for like an hour?
Yeah, it was 45 minutes or an hour. It was a while.
Christ. Jesus Christ.
Because he had to go through like 5 or 6 pages of steel challenge rules, like 8 pages of multi-gun rules. And it's in this neighborhood. And then another like 6 pages of USPSA rules and talk about the changes. And
yeah, and like, to what end? Could that have been a PowerPoint? You know, like, I didn't understand that at all. It's no wonder nothing gets done at these meetings, because I had to stop. I had to take a break. My eyes were glazing over, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. All right, then let's move on to like the more interesting part of the boring part, which is Jake proposing a fairly radical change to the classification system. I'm pretty sure he doesn't know fundamentally what he's trying to do. It's like, we're going to make the matches count more for classification and make the classifiers more like matches and do all this stuff and add a new class and whatever. But what was funny is like, he was reading all this stuff and it's called, and then Yeaman's like, boom, let's vote to approve it. And then Ben Barry's like, I don't understand this. Ben Barry, I don't understand this. And it was like, well, then Ben's like, whoa, let's slow this down. And Frank's like, I haven't even read this because you guys didn't. And it's like, Ben's like, I want to talk to the members of this and this. And this is where we got to talk about. This is where we got to talk about Yeaman a little bit. Now, Yeaman, he was sweaty. He's sweating buckets like he's in the suit. And he's like, when that moment came, in fairness, he voted yes to put Frank. He had to think about it for a few seconds, but he did it. Like, boom, bring him back, bring back Frank. And people were like, yeah, Yeaman's a gangster. It's like, okay.
Well, I think after he voted on, or not voted, after because Frank was brought back in on a point of order, which is there's no vote on a point of order. That's just Yeaman's decision as the chair of the meeting.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, like he's thinking about. He's like, yeah, like he knew, but he did it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But so that was cool.
And he did a great job running the meeting on Wednesday. The meeting ran very smoothly. It was a complete contrast to Monday's meeting, which was not run well at all.
Right. But then, okay, so this is what was crazy to me watching this. Is like, so there's got these very consequential changes to the classifier system, and he's pushing Ben like immediately, like, vote yes, like let's vote yes on this. And Ben's like, I need time. We got to talk to people. He's like, well, it's just provisional. We can come back and talk about it later. And it was like, holy shit, Yeaman. Like, this is precisely the conduct that got the organization to this place where it's like they just do stuff, then people get mad, or maybe they don't get mad. Maybe the classifier change would be a home run. I don't know. But it's like they just do stuff and then people get mad. Then they're like, oh, like, how could you guys be mad at us? It's like, you know, and then Ben Barry's like thinking about the actual membership. He's like, no, we got to run this by people. It's like, hey, this is like really complicated. I don't understand that. I got to look at this and all this stuff. So like fundamentally, it's like, it's like doesn't get it in my view.
I mean, my thought on and this isn't about the meeting. This is about the changes to the classification system that they're proposing.
I don't care.
That they've got all this data from major matches. They can take whatever change they're looking at and apply it to old match data and see what the effect would be.
Right. This is what Ben wanted to do. And Ben just wanted like, hey, let's look at this. And it's like the institution, USPSA, like the IT nerd and Jake and Yeeman, they got together and they're like, this is our idea. And it's like, they fundamentally do not understand as a group, in my view. It's like, no, you take this and you take it to the board, and then the board represents the members. And when the board led Ben Barry's like, I don't understand this. I need time. It's like, bro, read the room. Like they need a minute, but it's like, just because they worked on the thing, they just want to get it passed. And it's like the board needs to do its thing to interface with the members to like give people what they want. Like, I'm not saying don't change the classification system, but it's like the way you guys are approaching, like, this is what got you here. This is what did it. This is the problem. Yeah, Austin, what do you say about that?
Well, I mean, their favorite expression when you think back to the bylaws or whatever, what do they say? Oh, unforeseen consequences. We could have never seen this coming. If you push the pause button, kick something back to your members, let people talk about it, and then actually take that feedback, which we did not do with the bylaws. Because there's a lot of dudes out there with really good ideas. You got your Jay Slaters, you got your competition shooting analytics, you got, I mean, that's what Derek started doing, is nerding out over data. These personality types would love to contribute and probably come out with a better product than whatever the hell Troy and Jake and company were talking about.
Go ahead, Bill.
And they can take it. We wouldn't even have to, USPSA wouldn't even have to pay anybody to see what the effect on past matches would be. You just say, this is what we're proposing, and competition shooting analytics and Derek, and they will go, and they've already scraped all of the practice score match results. They've got it on their computers. They just have to write the algorithm to do the new change.
The number cruncher people need to get together with real world smart people, and the real world people are like, you understand, people game the system, right? So how would we game this? You know what I mean? People game it to get what they want. So you need to like really look at the system and test it a bunch of different ways and try to break it. And then you have to fundamentally understand what you're trying to accomplish. And it's like right now, I think they're upset, or what they're trying to fix is that there's too many GMs, or there's not enough distinguishment, and the people don't finish at matches where they think they should finish based on class or something. Like, I'm not really sure what the problem even is, but anyway, that's a separate thing. The process here is the problem in my view. And it's like, I'm looking at this, I'm like, nope, Jake has not learned a thing and never will. It's like Yeeman doesn't get it. And it's like, it's just like disheartening, where it's like, they fundamentally do not understand what landed them here. And it's exactly that behavior which continues.
It's the same problem you see with Congress. It's like, there's been some tragedy. We have to pass a law. We have to do something. This is something. Let's do this.
Well, you don't care? You don't want to do anything?
The classification system is broken. This is something that will change the classification system. We have to do this. It's like, well, we don't have to do this. It might make it worse. We don't know.
Yeah, and this is Jake. Like Jake Martins, who gets everything, right all the time. Jake was flabbergasted when Ben wanted member input, by the way. He was flabbergasted. And it's just like, it's like, no, Jake fixes that. He fixed the classification a bunch of other times. I'm sure he got it this time. Nailed it, guys. Like, let's just make it a thing. It's just like, oh my God. All right, let's move on to Lawyer Jim. Now, he's catching a ton of heat because there's questions about like what state he's allowed to give advice for, I think. And there was some issue with him being general counsel. Now, I heard there was a complaint filed on him before, like an official complaint that got handled or whatever, which I think resulted in nothing, in fairness, but did elicit some not truthful statements from Jim, in my view, where he was saying something like, okay, so he bullshitted him, it looks like. Fair enough. But then it's like, what is mind-blowing to me? Like, it's mind-blowing. Like, so Jim apparently got it. People complained previously about like his exact like licensure and his status and like the type of advice he's getting. Is that fair to say, Bill?
That's my understanding. Yeah, is that official complaints were made, I think, to the bar in Washington State that he was advising clients in Washington about legal matters.
Well, you're a lawyer, so yeah. I mean, like lawyers are super sensitive about this shit, right?
That's the whole reason we have the bar exam, is so that that random people don't just start giving legal advice. We want to, it's a guild. It's a guild just like anything else with a license, like professional engineering is a guild. It's like we want to exclude people. Now, the idea is that we're excluding people to protect them from people who will give them bad advice. But the idea is that we're keeping people out. And the laws in every state they're not the same. We don't have one set of laws across the country. I don't know what the laws are in Alabama. I'm not licensed in Alabama. I'm not licensed in Washington, not licensed in Delaware. I'm licensed in Arkansas, and I practice in federal court, so I can do federal stuff. It's easy for me to get admitted to do bankruptcy stuff, federal stuff in other states, because that's pretty the same across the whole country.
Here's what rattled my brain about this. It was like amazing. Like this is one of those things again where it's like I don't understand the decision making. This dude knows there's a group of haters watching everything he's doing. Let's be honest. He's got a group of haters. And then he knows this is being live streamed. He knows it's being live streamed and he knows there's haters. And then he goes and it's like, talks about this again. I've heard there's 3 complaints filed officially, not by anyone on this call, by the way, if anyone's asking.
I haven't filed anything. Right, I don't plan to file anything. That's too much work for me.
No, I mean, I'm not this type of person, but it's like, in my thinking, it's like, I'm not going to do this, but I'm pretty sure someone's going to, like, he gets all these complaints filed. It's like, dude, you're on live stream. Like, what did you think would happen? Like, honestly, you know what I mean? Like, where was your head? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Austin, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, he's treading in rather dangerous waters, in my opinion, based on the fact that he's represented himself as a friend to the board, someone they can call at most with general legal questions. And Donna's gone so far as to say, "Oh no, I just have him on because most of our matches are held in Alabama." Or it was preposterous what he said. But regardless, he is giving them legal advice.
Well, he was introduced at the meeting or in roll call as USPSA's general counsel.
Yes, multiple times.
He's not licensed in Delaware, right? Because it's a Delaware corp. Is that the issue?
He's not licensed in Delaware or in Washington because the principal place of business is in Washington State.
Okay.
So he can't advise them on employment stuff in Washington because he's not a Washington licensed attorney. Same thing for Delaware. He can't advise them on corporate stuff. I mean, he can look stuff up the way I look stuff up and say, look, I looked this up and this is what I think it is. But if you rely on that, that's not my fault. Like, yeah. I'm not telling you this is legal advice. This is like, I could do research and figure out what it should be, but I'm not going to sign my name as a lawyer saying this is what the law is in Delaware.
You cannot do that, right?
I'm sorry, you cut out.
You cannot do that. Not only would you not, like, you're not allowed, right?
Right. I would get in trouble in Delaware for the unauthorized practice of law.
Like, what kind of trouble, based on what you've heard or what you know, could happen? Or what, like what type of stuff happens?
So you could get fined. They would report me to Arkansas, where I am licensed, and I could get suspended from practice, and then I wouldn't be able to practice law for the length of my suspension. I've never been, I haven't been subject to any attorney discipline at all. So, I mean, usually it's, your first offense, you get, 3-6 month suspension, something like that. But that's still 6 months where I don't get to work.
Yeah,
right.
That would be inconvenient.
Yeah, it would not be ideal.
Okay. One more person involved in the meeting, IT Rick. So shout out to Rick. Because of him, like, the live stream actually happened. He seems fairly competent, and we got to watch this amazing dumpster fire of dysfunction and pettiness and idiocy. And it was fantastic, though. It was fun. I mean, you were complimentary to Rick as well, Bill, on your live stream?
Oh yeah. I mean, whenever they asked questions to Rick, he had answers. He was prepared for the meeting.
Yeah.
And that sounds ridiculous to say. Like the bar of minimum competence is too high for some people
Oh my
on
God.
on this meeting for them to reach.
Everything I've heard about him is that he is the most competent employee that USPSA has, and I can't.
I've
He
heard the
must hate
same.
his life.
I've heard the same from everybody.
Yeah.
Like, that's great. All right. There's one other thing I have to say. Like, I have to say this. This has been like the most gratifying, personally, the most gratifying week of my life in a long time. Like to watch like years of battling with these people, resulting in consequences for me. And now it's like, finally, finally, it's in my view, it's like this is undeniable. It's kind of like if somebody wants to tell me these guys are doing a good job, it's like watch the video, then come talk to me. It's like you don't see what's good. Like you are deluded or dishonest at this point if you don't see what the fuck is going on here. And it is hilarious to me on a lot of levels. And
Yeah.
you guys have been at this a while. Austin, I want to hear how you feel about this because like you come on, teabag these guys a little bit. You just
No,
you
it's about time. It is I mean they're railroading this sport. They've been doing it for years, right? And it started for me. It started back with the bylaw changes and hearing guys talk about it, and it's like, hey, what's going on here? And the more you learn, the worse it looks. And then you realize some of the personalities that we're dealing with, you know, your Bruce, your Sherwin, your Layden, Ed, these guys, they're nasty people. And
nasty. And they were nasty to
there's no-
Scott. They were nasty to Frank.
Yes.
They were nasty to Hoppy. They were nasty to me. It's just like, fuck you guys.
and it's
Sorry.
it's out there in the open. So you can watch these meetings and you watch Frank's demeanor and watch Ben Berry's demeanor. Like, who's the bad guy here? So it's good to see these guys really getting out there and showing their ass, and the membership actually starting to take notice and to start to push back. And honestly, the meme cannons have been going full blast. It's been great to watch, and just seeing the demeanor change in these guys that have been, you know, king of the castle for far too long. It's awesome. So keep it up, everybody.
Yeah, they overplayed their people go full force now. If you want to like actually fix USPSA, like the best chance is now. And if you really sit back and think about this, like these people they're toast. They are going to be gone as a result of this sooner or later. All right. It's better for everyone if that's sooner, so stuff can get put right and maybe put back together and then maybe fixed. But if we just get them gone, people will take that as a sign of, oh, maybe this can be fixed and, you know, we can put it all back together. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if we weren't doing witch hunts and the stupid crap that they've been doing for, you know, however many years, it's like, think about what we could have done in 8 hours, what we could have accomplished as far as making the sport better. I don't know, maybe we could stop losing $500,000 a year. Maybe we could tackle that problem. Because 2 meetings deep and we still haven't talked about that. But I mean, you get the right people on board and things can be so much better. And,
yeah.
You know, so keep the heat up.
Yes. I mean, Bill, last words from Bill as well.
To address the financials, I mean, if we're losing $100,000 at every nationals, what we need to do is have more nationals and make it up on volume. That'll solve the problem. It doesn't matter if we get 50 more people at handgun nationals or iron sight nationals, whatever you want to call it. All that does is swing the amount of money being lost from 120,000 to 100,000. I mean, you're losing 600,000 a year. You're going to run out of money at this if you're with losses at these rates and with funds on hand. According to 990, there's like 1.8 million, I think, something like that in reserves. Like that'll sustain that deficit for 3 years. So,
yeah,
if your membership is going to lapse or expire and you're in area 1 through 5, renew it, and you'll, like, they put in that you have to be a member for a year to vote. So if it's not lapsed for more than 30 days or 60 days, I don't remember the amount, you can renew it and you'll still get to vote.
Yeah. And let me just crystallize this for people. Again, right now, there's blood in the water. Like, everybody can smell it. You can see the demeanor shift. They know they're losing. I heard that Frank told someone, like, hey, if we get Scott back, they're fucked. That's what he said.
Yeah.
So you know what? We need Scott back. That's what we need. So you email them and you tell them what you want. And if they could say, like, bylaw this, rule that. It's like, no. You figure out how to make it happen. Like, you put yourselves in this situation, you figure it out. You know what I mean?
Well, there's already a roadmap for that. Ben Berry already put it out there.
Yeah, there you go. So it's like, we need Scott. And then you say, hey, Leighton, like, we're watching the demeanor in the meetings. Like, these guys don't know how they're going to vote till they see what you're doing. Like, maybe you should just go. Like, that kind of stuff. It's like, just tell them what needs to happen. Like, this can be fixed, like, toot sweet. If people just, like, believe, like, there is a fix to this. That's what was, like, kind of, people are, like, blackpilled now, finally seeing the meetings. And I'm just like, I don't understand these people. I didn't, like, the meetings, this stuff was, like, funny to see and everything. I wasn't surprised by any of it, honestly. Like, you guys know, I've seen through these people for years. Like, I'm not surprised by this. This is who they are. Just put foot to ass and tell them what you want to happen. It's like, you guys are destroying this. Like, Rick Steele, like, vote the right way or get the hell off. You know what I mean? It's like, get off your fucking iPad. Like, you're not, like, you idiot. You're destroying the sport. Do you understand that? Like, send them the emails, like, that kind of stuff. Like, quit playing patty cake with these dipshits and just tell them what you want. And then support the guys that are, doing the right things. You got to give them love, like, as much as, like, I've been critical of Yemen, but when that moment came, guess what? Frank's back on the board. So good on him. Like, maybe Yemen can be like turned a good direction. I don't know, but it's like, this thing has to get fixed, and it can get fixed. I really think so.
Yeah. Well, the second of the two meetings was encouraging. It's moving in the right direction. I mean, it's not just Yemen, who did a much better job to create an orderly meeting and all the things, but there is a path forward. Nobody I've ever talked to just wants to completely torpedo USPSA. That's not good for anybody. It's torpedoing the individuals who are torpedoing USPSA.
Right. The members of the board are not USPSA. That's true for the old members of the board that have been there for years. It's true of Ben Berry and Frank and Russell, who are new to the board, that they are not USPSA. And we elect our directors. So people talk about them, people express their opinions about whether they'd be good on the board or bad for the board. And you have to be able to criticize people in order to do that. And if any criticism of somebody who's on the board is bringing disrepute to USPSA, then you can't talk about the election. It's absurd to think that criticizing a member of the board is criticism of the organization.
Back, remind everybody, like, years ago, when me and Hopkins came and say, hey, declaring war on the USPSA establishment, you guys are gone. We want you guys to go. We want you guys to be gone. And then the issues you talked about are like, hey, you guys, like, we want a leadership change, and there should be stuff like the members get to vote on who has Troy's job. For example, like, the policy prescriptions were so tepid by, like, what we're talking, like, by the standards of what we're talking about now, and just saying we didn't like them and wanted to politically oppose them, you saw it trigger the chain of events that we're seeing now. You know what I mean? You saw them change the rules, rig the process, try to screw everybody, and that it's just like, they did this. They did this because what they were doing is wrong, because they took us attacking them and saying we wanted them to be gone as leaders, wanted different leadership. They took that as, well, I mean, I think they're being dishonest and disingenuous when they do this. Like, they know we're not attacking the organization. I'm attacking them personally. The problem is them. I don't even think the problem is a rule, a regulation, a policy, or a procedure. The problem here is the individuals. It's as simple as that, in my view. And
Right.
it's like, just saying that, you're not allowed to say that.
Yeah, if you are willing to ignore rules violations for people you like and strictly enforce the rules when it comes to people you don't like, then you don't actually care about the rules.
No, it's just personality the whole time. And it's the same as, like, if you've ever encountered Troy at a match and had a disagreement or a call that he's making, it's almost always just handled on the basis of personality. Like, he's just an a-hole to everybody, unless it's like, oh, it's like a buddy or like something he wants to happen. Then the rules get twisted the direction he wants. And if it's somebody he really dislikes, they get hammered. Like, I've seen this countless times.
Yeah.
Like, and this is how a lot of these guys are. Whatever. Well, I've said enough. Like, people listening, again, full force right now. Like, everybody sees it. I don't sit around asking people to send emails all the time. I'm asking now, because now it might actually matter. Like, this thing drags, like I said, it drags on a year or two. The damage could be irreparable, and that's not really good for anyone. All right. Thanks for coming on, guys, by the way.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ben.